I hate carrying around heavy weight gear. If I can go light and have the same production quality, I'll go light. And check this out. This can easily substitute this. This, super light. Now just check this video out, okay? Just check this video. I shot this video in one afternoon. I was going out with my parents, with my girlfriend. I was enjoying myself. I didn't have to plan it. I didn't have to bring a backpack full of batteries and stuff. All I needed was this. That's all I was using, nothing else. If I can get away doing videos that are high quality, spending only $110, I resell those videos or I put them on YouTube and I monetize it and I make the money back, then it's worth the investment. You know how much I paid for this? The Xeon Crane? This one was $450 US. I had to carry this around on a flight. I had to fold it, I had to recalibrate it. It's a pain in the ass and it's so heavy, and when you charge the batteries, like, it takes forever. This takes 2 seconds, USB Type-C. You can put it with a battery pack inside of your backpack. Like, this is really so convenient. If you want to buy this gimbal, links are down in the description. Alright, so what's so cool about this gimbal? Most mirrorless and DSLRs have quite decent image stabilization. The GH5 has a really good one, but it's not comparable to an action camera. For example, the Hypersmooth from the GoPro and the Rocksteady from DJI Osmo Action, these are really, really good. If you couple that with a gimbal, oh my god, your videos are insane. Of course, a DSLR and a mirrorless have higher bitrate, higher quality, and it's a bigger sensor. But if you're going to shoot a travel video and you're going out just for shooting, just like that, you don't need such high production value. So you can get away with it with an action camera and this gimbal right here. Now there's a catch. If you want to shoot good videos where the stabilization is performing at its best, you gotta walk slowly and you gotta walk in a very padded way by bending your knees. Let me give you an example. You walk bending your knees and in a padded way. So the objective is to make the least vibrations possible by making them nice and smooth with your legs. So you're like acting as an extra stabilization other than the gimbal and the electronic stabilization in the camera. But an extra tip that will give you increased stabilization is shooting in 60 frames per second, and then when you import it into Adobe Premiere or whatever you use, slow that footage down to obtain slow motion. If you do all these things I just said, your videos are going to blow everyone away. They're gonna be amazing. And you might be able even to sell them as stock footage. I just love the sound of this gimbal when it switches on. Just listen to this. Ah, it's so cute. This gimbal has all the standard features that other gimbals have. But in addition to all the features that you've seen already, it has this added feature, which is a very expensive feature. It's quite uncommon among other gimbals, which is the 360 like inception kind of feature, it's called flashlight mode on this gimbal. And it's very hard to find in other gimbals. Like I have more expensive gimbals that don't do this. There's all these YouTube videos on how to do these tricks, how to do it handheld, how to trick your gimbal in doing it. This one does it natively and it works super well. PF, HL, FPV, and FL. To engage them all, you just have to press M a couple of times and yeah, you just shuffle through them. Just to enter flashlight, it's a little bit tricky. I'm gonna teach you in a second. I've seen YouTube videos where other users weren't able to enter that mode. I had to call customer service and they told me how to do it. The first mode is practically a horizon lock and it still reacts to your left and right. If you press in one more time, it's called HL. You practically move everywhere and it follows your hand's movements and it's just doing it very smoothly. Then if you do FPV, what it does is it follows your movements quicker, but it allows you to go in diagonal. What I typically like is I like going between people and flying. And you can have this, if you put in 60 frames per second, you can fly through people. It's really, really cool. You can put it on, for example, a selfie stick, and you can fly it through obstacles and objects, and it's really, really cool. And then if you press M again, it's not gonna go in flashlight mode. In order for you to access flashlight mode, put it in horizontal and then press M twice. So 1, 2, it goes into vertical mode. So this is for Instagram shots or Facebook shots. So if you're doing stories, for example, and then what you do is you press it twice again. It'll do amazing videos, especially for music videos. It's insane, really, it's super cool. If the camera is, for example, in diagonal and you're trying to get it straight, but you don't want to waste time in trying to get it straight, maybe it looks straight, but it's not, and your footage will be crooked, just double click twice the trigger on the back side of the gimbal and it'll make it straight. So that's super clever, super intuitive. If you want to exit this position, just press M once. You're gonna go back into the other modes. Another really cool thing, another cool feature is the complete lock of the camera in one direction. So practically all the axes are moving in order for the camera to keep on looking straight. So you just press the trigger and look at that, see? It's insane. This is really, really cool. I use it all the time. So I'm just walking, recording, and then if I want to vlog, I just face it. I talk, and then I keep on going. Really, this is amazing. I love it. Almost all gimbals nowadays do it, but some of them don't have this trigger. One of the things that I love about this gimbal is that there are no apps. There's one app, but it really does nothing. So the learning curve with this gimbal is just beautiful. It's perfect. You stabilize it once, so you balance it, and then you're good to go. You can already point and shoot, done. That's what I like. I don't want to learn for 3 days how a gimbal works through an app. The screen is always visible. There's nothing blocking you seeing the screen, the preview screen of what you're recording. Other gimbals, you can't put them asleep. So the motors are always engaged, they get hot, the batteries get consumed, less lifespan for the gimbal. But in this case, like I'm shooting and I'm doing my stuff, when I'm like talking to someone, there's nothing really interesting going on. All you have to do is press the record button twice, and it's asleep. See? Motors are not engaged. You want to resume recording? All you do is you press the record button once. And it's engaged and you're ready to go. You can start recording. The gimbal has a battery that lasts very, very long. I think it lasts up to 8 hours. No parts bang against each other. The metal frame, the motors, the parts, there's no way they can collide among each other. But let's go to the old-fashioned Zhiyun. It's full of scratches. Why? Look, if I let it go a second, parts that can collide should have been protected. The Inkee Falcon is a winner from this point of view. It's the smallest gimbal I have ever owned. I own 5 gimbals, including the competitor, the Zhiyun Crane M2, and this is, I think, half of the size, probably 1/3 of the weight. Yeah, it's crazy. Although this gimbal is really small, it supports heavier cameras than the DJI Osmo Action. It can, for example, support the GoPro Hero 9, which is heavier, and it can support additional filters. And I'm quite sure that it can support even a flashlight, or it can support a microphone like the Wireless Go. The only thing is that if you hook it up, you're gonna hit the part that is on top on the motor. So you can't really put it on top of this gimbal, unfortunately. This gimbal costs, I think, around $110 US, which is half the price of its competitors. Crazy, and it performs even better. I love you. I like the button positions because they're super intuitive. They're right in the front. The joystick moves perfectly, and it's also responsive. So if you move it up just slightly, it will give you a slower pan. If you just go straight up, it's going to go really fast. You have buttons on the sides for taking pictures, recording videos, recording time lapses, and there's a trigger on the back. So the buttons are clever, and I like where they're positioned. They're comfortable. It's easy to operate. At the very front, you have display panel, so you know exactly which setting you're in. I've seen people complain on some YouTube videos that the motors overheat. In my case, never happened. They're extremely reliable. Never a sound, never heard them making any squeaky sounds or vibrations. You know, some gimbals do that. This part is made out of plastic, reinforced plastic. It feels pretty good on the hand, although I wish it had a little bit of a rubbery feel on some sides. The above part, the motors, they're made out of metal. I've been reviewing both gimbals, this Inkee Falcon and the Zhiyun Crane M2. And I believe that this is my new go-to gimbal for action cameras. I'm happy about the Zhiyun Crane M2. It can support a DSLR, which is insane. That means that the motors are really, really strong. But if I'm going to shoot and I don't want to, go full on with my gear, I don't want to bring thousands of things, this is the way I go around. This is the best solution I go with. The gimbal comes with a tripod, and the tripod is quite wide. And I gotta say, it makes it quite versatile because you can put this practically anywhere, and because it's so wide, it's very improbable for your gimbal and your camera to tilt over. The tripod is extremely lightweight. It's made out of reinforced plastic. It has a structure on the inside. It's really hard to crack. You have to keep your arm quite far away in order for you to fit the frame properly. Your arm might get quite heavy after a little bit, but if you take this tripod and you put it here, you suddenly have a longer handle, a longer gimbal. I use a different type of tripod. It's a metal tripod. It's a little bit heavier, but it's wider, and it has an Arca Swiss adapter on the bottom, so it's really easy to hook up. It would have taken me a really long time to unscrew and screw, but here it was just 2 seconds. And see, this is the system I'm using. See, Arca Swiss, put it in, tighten it, I'm done. In the other case, I would have to screw it in. The parts that you can move to stabilize the camera on top of the gimbal are really easy to unscrew and screw with a specific wrench that is provided within the package. Once you set it up, it's just point and shoot. So that saves you time. Yeah, let's talk about the bad things. So I already said that unfortunately, the camera that you'll be putting on the gimbal won't be able to have a microphone or a flashlight on it. It's fully compatible for the GoPro Hero, but not for the DJI Osmo Action. Like 1/3 of the buttons on this gimbal I cannot use because they are only compatible once connected to the GoPro. So you want to take a picture? Not gonna work. Want to take a time lapse? Not gonna work. I bought this gimbal to use its functions, and I'm only able to use half of them. So it kind of it bugs me. It bothers me. To enter flashlight mode, which is one of the most expensive and most premium and most rewarding and beautiful features of this gimbal, it's actually not intuitive. And you go to the manual, there's nothing in there, and I had to contact customer service to get that information. So I would wish you guys to do a fix. I think you just need a firmware update. There's no way for you to change the settings for the motors to have, let's say, like a more fluid movement. So the only way for you to get a really good cinematic shot with this gimbal is by not going full throttle up or down or left or right, just slowly and gradually up. So I would love to have a setting within the app to change that motion to make it more fluid. The trigger in the back, once held, locks the camera in that direction. You can move anywhere, any direction, but it'll always point in the same way. If you keep on walking, over time, the gimbal gradually shifts to the right. It gradually does that all the time. And that kind of sucks because we know that when you're shooting a video and you have a purpose in mind and you're following a specific, I don't know, symmetry, you're gonna lose it with this gimbal. The gimbal, unfortunately, is not as, let's say, productive in terms of the app. On the Zhiyun, for example, you enter the app, you set the camera in a direction, you set that waypoint, and then you move it to the second waypoint, and you can instruct the camera to shoot a time lapse or a video between one waypoint and the next waypoint. This adds an incredible production value to your videos that you cannot do with this gimbal, but you can with a Zhiyun crane. Surprised that the app is so poor for this gimbal right here. The buttons on the gimbal are made out of hard plastic, and when you press them, they make some really weird sounds. The part that attaches to the gimbal and the camera is a regular GoPro mount. You see right here? I'm using Arca Swiss adapters on every camera, every microphone, every flashlight. Everything I use has an Arca Swiss adapter. I would like to use, for example, this cage. I would like to remove this easily and put it on top of another gimbal or on top of a tripod, but I can't because I have to unscrew it. And for example, the Zhiyun Crane M2, it has a base plate. It uses the Arca Swiss adapter system. What would I like to see on the second iteration of this beautiful, beautiful gimbal? I really love it. I'd like to see an easy access to the spinning feature, the flashlight mode, a flashlight integrated within one of the motors or integrated below the gimbal. I'd like to see a waypoint editor so that I can connect the gimbal to my phone and I can set waypoints and record along those waypoints just like I talked about before. There's no actual pouch. So how do I store this in order for it not to get scratched? This is the Zhiyun Crane M2, the competitor to this one. And look, it's made out of simple silicone, or I don't know how to call it. It's like polyester. And it's super lightweight. It protects the gear very well. It looks very nice and premium. Let's see if I can open it. It looks like I'm struggling. It's beautifully presented as well. Like I opened this up, I'm already like, ooh, nice. I actually threw your box out because there's no worth in me keeping it. But you see, Zhiyun thought about it, and instead of giving you a box that you actually throw out, they give you this so that you can keep it also not just as a presentation of the product, but also for you to carry it around. How did I say that? Carry it around. I already said it. I'd like to see better buttons. I'd love to see an Arca Swiss system. Yes, this gimbal is quite small. Indeed, it is. I have another gimbal. It's right over there. It has a situation here where you practically press a button and you fold this part down and it becomes half of the size. It would be nice to have a locking mechanism that can also fold it down, put it in place, but it's half the size. And another thing, why not put some 1/4 inch holes here that you can screw in some arms and put some situation there where you can connect a microphone or a flashlight to the grip. You know, it's been done previously on other gimbals. It's on the Zhiyun Crane M2, it's available there. So I really don't understand why you don't have it on your grip. I love this gimbal. I think it's the best gimbal I own now. It is not perfect, it is not, but it's so light, it's so small, so easy to carry. It works so well and the buttons are just so intuitive. And it has that 360 spinning feature. I mean, it just made my videos so beautiful. It's a pleasure to shoot with this gimbal. I really cannot hide that. It makes your production value so high. You can even sell these videos. You can put them on YouTube, do beautiful travel guide videos. There's actually no catch. All you need to do is carry a few filters, a few batteries, the gimbal, a tripod, and you're good. I used to carry a huge backpack full of batteries, CPL filters, huge filters, 3-4 lens, all these adapters and these cables and HDMI cables, and why? Then that's work. And I want to be able to go somewhere, shoot, and be able to spend my time with the people I'm with so that I can enjoy myself too. I don't want to be the guy always shooting and having to commit. I want to shoot. I love shooting. I love doing videos, but I also want to enjoy myself. If I can do all that, still having and retaining amazing quality footage, that's a winner. Leave your comments down. I want to hear your opinions on this gimbal. I want to hear if you're liking it, if you're enjoying it. I think it's really, really good. If you want to buy it, of course, you can help our channel by purchasing through the links that we have in the description. Orlando signing out. See you on our next video, guys. Bye. Ciao. God, these motors. Oh, yeah. Holy moly, holy smokes. Whoa, wee. All right, bye guys. Buy the gimbal. Buy it. Buy it. Come on. You know you need this. Even tastes good.